The Oklahoma City Thunder have done it. They are your 2025 NBA champions. I'm Chris Manning. That's Wes Goldberg. On today's show, talking about the Thunder, talking about the Pacers, talking about Kevin Durant to the Rockets. That's all coming up today on the Just Basketball Show. Let's go.
Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan. LeBron James with no regard for human life.
Before we get into our normal stuff, it's beer o'clock here on the Just Basketball Show. Wes, what are you working with here, my friend? We're toasting the end of the season. I got a Miller Lite.
I got a little Mick Ultra in a can.
Oh, yeah.
Situation.
Yeah. All right, let's crack these. Toast to a great season.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, buddy. We did it. We made it. We're here. We have no time off because we're getting trades already and during the finals.
And it's the draft coming up.
And the draft is coming up. So, as always, twice a week, Just Basketball Show, part of Just Sports Network, and as always, powered by BetMGM.
That's right. And if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, it's kind of late. Use the bonus code JustBasketball. You'll get up to $1,500 in a first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS and Android. Sign up using the code JustBasketball. Deposit at least $10. Place your first wager on any game. You'll receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. Just make sure to use the bonus code JustBasketball when you sign up. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older to wager. Terms and conditions apply.
Wes, we got to start with the team that just did the whole thing, and that's the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are your NBA champions, and I think a very solid, fell back on what made them great Game 7 performance. You know, it was Shai had 29, did a bunch of shit, hit a bunch of threes, but it was the defense. It was forcing turnovers. We'll get to the Haliburton part of this, but this was like, you tell me what the Thunder are going to do to win Game 7, and to remind you of what exactly this team is. That's what this Game 7 felt like to me for how they performed and how they ultimately got this done.
Yeah. Awesome, masterful second half by the Thunder. They turned it on defensively in the third quarter. You saw 14 steals for them in the game. They got back to your point, Chris, what it is that they do well. They rode Shai from the very beginning. There was no questions about who was leading this team. There was, Jalen Williams had his 20, Chet had his 18, but Shai had 29, 12 assists to just one turnover. Huge difference from that Game 6, 7 turnover game from him. And to your point, this is what they have done all year. And zooming out here a little bit, they are a very deserving champion.
Yes.
And you could quibble with the fact that it took them 7 games. But they have wire to wire been the best team all season. And they looked young. There were times where they did not look ready. I made the point that in Game 6, in Game 3, they had games where they just did not look ready. But they were young. And maybe they weren't ready. But they grew up and got the experience that they needed to win a championship in real time. A Game 7 against the Denver Nuggets after blowing an opportunity in Game 6 in the second round against that team. A challenging series in the Western Conference Finals against Minnesota. And then a huge challenge against this Indiana Pacers team that they were far better than on paper, who most people were picking in 5 or 6 games the Thunder to win the championship. And even when Haliburton had the initial injury, people saying, okay, well, it's basically a wrap. And then they fumbled a Game 6 opportunity to close them out in Indiana, but they took care of business at home. I don't think that they were ready to win the championship before the playoffs started, but by the end of the playoffs, they were ready to win the championship. They got the experience that they needed in real time, and now we have one of the youngest teams in 50 years to win a championship. We all know how they're set up going forward, but they are an absolute deserving champion. I don't want to hear any quibbles about it. I don't want to hear anything about foul baiting or free throw merchants or the Haliburton injury in regards to their win here or the fact that it took them 7 games. Winning a championship is really hard. This Thunder team was the best team in the league, wire to wire, and they deserve this championship. And I'm happy for them. I really am.
Wes, 100%, right? Like, this team was the best team coast to coast this entire season. There were moments of this year where I think Cleveland had a valid case to be the best team in the league. I think the Celtics had cases where you thought they were the best team in the league. You could have made arguments for a couple different teams here and there throughout the year. And obviously Boston ends up having the Tatum injury. Cleveland falls on its face against Indiana. Pillar to post, start to finish. There was no better, more complete, more consistently dominant team than the Oklahoma City Thunder. Mm-hmm. And it's not, we don't always get that when teams win a title, right? Like, you can look at the regular seasons and say, that was the best team in the regular season. That's my favorite to win the title, particularly in a world now where they pointed this out at the end of the broadcast. 7 years in a row, 7 new champions. We have not had a back-to-back champion since the Warriors.
2018.
In 2018, after when they got that was an Uber team. That was with Durant. That's when they get Durant and really take over the world. We're in a league now where it's really hard to repeat. It's really hard to dominate, even within a single season. For them to do this without ever having done it before, being really young, Caruso's the only guy with real deep playoff experience on this team, having lost the way they did last year. It is just a highly, highly impressive title. For other teams, I think, that maybe had similar success. They could have been in a world where the little skids, the little issues that we saw against Denver in game 6, and then at the start of game 7, and then in game 3 and 6 in the finals, that could have spiraled into something bigger and cost them this.
Yep.
Every time it happened, they re-righted the ship, they got on track, they got moving in the right direction, and they won by their exact identity back at home, back in game 7. This is as highly as I think of impressive as the way the Thunder could have done it, considering I want to see teams personally go through adversity like this. This is much more interesting to me as someone analyzing this team, talking about this team with the U.S., to watch them go through that instead of having them just cruise to the title and dominate maybe how they should have, and maybe how they'll do next year or the year after. It's possible this is the start of something. Yeah,
for sure, right? It feels almost likely that this is the start of something. But before we jump ahead too far, to your point, this was hard for them. And it was probably harder than I think a lot of people anticipated, considering how much of an on-paper favorite they were and their historic net rating, their historic defense relative to league average and league offenses, and all of these things. But it is so hard to win a championship, especially when you're young. And we go into these, we're going into these playoffs, and a lot of people are picking the Thunder. A lot of people are picking the Thunder before the season. I had Thunder Celtics. I think you had Thunder Celtics for your finals prediction.
Yes.
But you hear a lot of former players talk on broadcasts or on panels or whatever, and they say, "Yeah, I'm not a believer in the Thunder. I think they're too young." And it comes off as a hater take a lot. And I think we're really quick to dismiss those takes. What do you mean they're too young? Come on, look how talented they are. They check all these boxes on paper and all this stuff. But there is something to it. There's something about the youth thing. Yeah. And I think about, what are we, eight minutes into the podcast, and I could start hating on the Celtics now. I think about those Celtics teams.
You could have got there sooner, and I wouldn't have been surprised. Good for you. This is restraint.
This is restraint. There was those Celtics teams for years that just couldn't get over the hump because they were young and frankly soft, right? And say whatever you want about this Thunder team, they're not soft, and they are young, but it's really hard to be dealt with the things that you were talking about, Chris, the adversity that they were dealing with, and some of it self-inflicted adversity, right? But adversity nonetheless. It's really hard to deal with that and then bounce back and not crumble. And they just never crumbled. They always maintained their poise, for better or for worse. Sometimes it felt like they were too calm. They weren't meeting the moment enough, but they just believed in themselves. And I think that a lot of credit goes to Mark Daigneault for that, kind of setting the tone there. Him and SGA, you could tell they set the tone for everything in terms of the team's poise and how they're just going to approach things. And they did it. And it's really hard, and they did it. And now they have the experience. Now they know what it takes. And now I think that's a really scary place for the rest of the league to be looking at this team that has everybody under contract next year, has 3 picks in the draft this week, has a ton of draft capital and other assets that they can move in case something disastrous happens, or in case they have to avoid some CBA stuff or whatever it is. This team is set up, and maybe it's tempting to do this every year, but when you think about teams, last year we were talking about Boston, wow, this team is really set up for a little bit of a run here, but we knew that there was a window because of where they were with the luxury tax. But this team, this team just has everything you need. And I don't know if it means, like, when we talk about dynasties, like potentially like back to back or whatever it is, but they're set up to win multiple championships over the next 5 to 6 years. And that's about all you can ask for in today's NBA.
100%. I mean, they're adding Topic on top of having other draft picks, having all this. Like, they're having a rookie that I think people are excited about that could be like a nice kind of secondary like playmaker for them, which I think is like an interesting like way to kind of evolve this. Could be aggressive at some point as well. It's like always saying, but like I think this game too, Sam Presti was hitting on that. It isn't just like it's a great like culture. It's a great team. Was kind of what he was hitting on. It's like they've built this so intentionally to get to here.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had to, maybe not exactly like where you end up in this finals game. And I think we should talk about like what they did in this game a little bit. We have a little bit, but just to like narrow it down, it's like they've built like a very, they obviously I think my understanding of how teams broadly sort of work is you identify it's talent first, and then you're getting scheme, you're getting coach. Like the NBA is a talent first thing, whereas like I think other sports can be scheme, have players fit the scheme to some degree. NBA I think is broadly talent first. To build this and mold the talent to be this is like nothing short of remarkable. I mean, this is a first-time head coach, mind you, doing this in Mark Daigneault, which is not like an easy thing to do. It's not a super veteran team. Presti's been around for a while, but it's like he had a long. It's not like he's kind of done this one thing, and you end up in the finals where yes, it got a little bit close. Like the Pacers punched back. Haliburton before the injury was. It felt like he was going to have to keep them in the game and was going to do some miraculous stuff. But you end up in a game where you force the other team in a Game 7. One of 20 of these ever in history, to above a quarter of their possessions and turnovers, while you turn the ball over less than 10% of the time, while you're scoring fairly efficient, not great, but like for these playoffs pretty efficiently, while you are shooting really, really well at the rim, while you are overcoming like not even shooting well from three and still just kind of maintaining this big lead, you build something where you could play like an imperfect game. And because you have SGA, because you have all this other talent, like you can kind of dominate a Game 7 of the finals between the second and the end of the third quarter and deep into the fourth. Like there was a stretch where it was close. And then like the vice grip comes out, particularly after Haliburton goes out, which isn't to diminish this at all. Mm-hmm. And you just suck the life out of the Pacers in a Game 7 of the finals. That is rare. That is like not something that happens. The Game 7s we've had in recent memory, I mean, 2016 was not that. That Warriors team was great. That Cavs team was really great. Neither of those teams were able to, like, choke the life out of the other one. It's very rare that I think you get this deep and a team is able to just kind of, like, shepherd something that way. It doesn't, like, come across as the traditional basketball dominant thing that I think we think of, but it is that in its own way, I think.
Yeah, and credit to SGA. I thought he really set the tone coming out of halftime, right? He has that series there where he leads to an OKC bucket on 3 straight possessions, right? He gets the 3-pointer to Chet, and then on a kick out, and then he drives into the paint, has this crazy pass to Lou Dort or to Jalen Williams rather for a 3-pointer, and then he started it with his own 3-pointer, so it pushes Oklahoma City's lead to I think 9 at that point, where it was pretty tight there at halftime. Obviously, you know. The Nembhard 3 gives Indiana that 48-47 lead at halftime. But then he comes out, sets the tone offensively, and then defensively. What Dort did in Game 7, unreal what he was doing defensively in that game. How many steals did he end up with? 3? Yeah, he had 3 steals in that game. He had one at the end in the fourth quarter where it felt like the Pacers were starting to climb into it, right? Remember when they got it down to 12 and things like that?
I had like real like, uh-oh. I had real just like the Pacers are going to do some Pacers bullshit here. And, like, I mean, there was a run where McConnell had, like, 10 points in a row for them. And I was just like, I guess they're going to, like, get this within 6.
Yeah. He had 12 points in a row in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, they cut it down to 12 with about 3 minutes left. They cut it down to 12 with 5 minutes left. They cut it down to 12 again with 3 minutes left. And then SGA comes down, misses a shot. McConnell gets the big bounce rebound, and it kind of acts like a run out almost. And he's got the ball, and Dort just comes up just races down the court, comes up from behind him, pokes the ball free, and it just sort of reverses the possession again. And the Thunder get the ball back. They didn't score, but it was just those little plays by Dort defensively that always was just like kind of keeping the Pacers at bay, just that arm's length, where it felt like they had chances to cut it to 10 or to 9 or to like the single digits over and over again. It just every time it felt like it was Dort making a defensive stop, getting the steal, getting a big offensive rebound, whatever it might be. He was awesome in this game. SGA, it was a classic SGA performance. We can do more on the game. I think there's a ton to get into, but I think you kind of hit the nail on the head earlier when you said like they were able to fall back into their identity and into who it was that they wanted to be and where they were comfortable, and they ultimately were able to play this game on their terms.
I mean, I think, Wes, that's a great point to bring in, like, talk about Chet a little bit for this game, because he had 5 blocks. He was overall just much more poised and composed and himself in this game than he was, I think, in Game 6 when he was one of the big liabilities, I think, for Oklahoma City. NBA record 5 blocks in a Game 7. He was really active. He was really good offensively. And, like, him and Jalen Williams, I think the way that they played, I think more so Chet was, I thought, a little like the second best player for Oklahoma City in this game for me. The way that when they are right and they are like just cruising, and for much of this game I think they were, that it just like the identity kind of organically clicks into place, and it then becomes like really, really hard to do it. And if you're in it for stretches with what Chet was doing, I think with what their perimeter defense is doing, like the Indiana offense was literally just like, hope to God Nembhard can hit a step back 3, hope to God Siakam can do something, or hope to God TJ McConnell can like wiggle his way free and like hit like a little junk 6-foot floater. Like there was not like anything being done that was like really intentional. It was literally just like hopes and prayers because you didn't really have anything else you could do. That's what it felt like. I'm sure they had like principles they were working off of here, but like it didn't feel like anything they were like designing it. It was just like, we have to just like probe and attack and hope that our good guys can actually do enough here to get us looks. And when you get there against Oklahoma City and they're clicked into that, like there's like no team except for maybe like a fully clicking Boston team in this that I think can beat that team. Like if Boston's fully healthy, I think they could do it. Cleveland obviously I think took a huge step back in our minds, I think, after how they lost in round 2. It's really like a fully throttled Celtics team right now that I think has the capabilities to beat the Thunder team when they're glued in like that.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens in this offseason, obviously. But, again, the Thunder have an opportunity, too. If something happens in the league where they're like, oh, my God, like now we have to worry about this team, they could trade stuff. They can move things around if they need to make a move, whether it's before the season or at the trade deadline or whatever they got to do, right? Like, this is also a team that is built to withstand injuries. Like, they were down to no centers, essentially, in the middle of this regular season. It's not like this team was healthy all year long. Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren missed a lot of time. And if that were to happen again, right, to a season-ending injury to whatever player before the trade deadline next year, they have the means to just go out and get a high-level replacement with all these draft picks and all these assets and these things that they can move. So they are uniquely situated to withstand a lot of different kinds of things here over the next few years. Can we do some legacy stuff?
Yeah, please. Let's do it.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 26 years old at the time of winning his first championship. That's younger than what Jordan was. It's younger than LeBron when he won his first championship. There's other guys like Kobe was 21 when he won his first with Shaq, right? And like Dwayne Wade was 24. Like he's not the youngest guy to lead a team, but he's the first guy in 25 years to win the MVP, the scoring title, and Finals MVP, and win the championship all in the same year. And the last, it's Jordan and a short list of guys who have done that.
Yeah.
He's on track now for something really special.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it is, and maybe it's too soon to start talking about this, but this first championship at this age for him, with the season he had, first of all, he's in the conversation now for best player in the league. Has to be. Right?
Yeah.
Like even with the Jokic, I probably still lean Jokic, but he's got to be in the conversation. Like he deserves that after what he's accomplished.
If you go to his draft class, I think this is where I would go with it.
Okay.
2018 draft class. He is the first guy in his class to get a title. He beats Luka, Beats Jaren Jackson. He beats Trae Young. He beats DeAndre Ayton. He beats like a lot of very good players that come from that class. Jalen Brunson, he gets one before. It's
going to be an all-time draft class.
All-time draft class for a variety of reasons and just long discussed. You get into 2019, he gets one before. What is another good draft class? Like he's in the like ahead of Zion, ahead of Ja, ahead of Garland, ahead of like all these guys. He's obviously already ahead of them, ahead of Hero. He's ahead of all these guys already. Gets the title before any of them. Luka is the one where he gets a title before Luka.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot tell me, and I don't mean to like, this is not like a shit on Luka thing, because I kind of suspect we're getting like mega Luka season coming. Like I feel like the best is still yet ahead for that guy, particularly playing in LA, playing with LeBron, spite on his shoulder, healthy this offseason, all that. But the way that SGA has carried himself since day one in the league, when you hear people about, like Doc Rivers talking about being mad about trading him, about how he seems to carry himself as uber consistent, uber dialed in, uber disciplined, you don't hear a damn bad thing about that guy in terms of how he carries himself, how he approaches the game, any of that stuff. That sets the tone for a whole organization. That sets the tone for an entire. That is like what the best players in the league do. That is what Jokic does in Denver. Jokic sets a template for that team. Giannis sets a culture and a template for the Bucks. SGA, everything that makes the Thunder great extends from SGA. SGA makes that possible. That is on his legacy, and he's the first guy in his era. Like Tatum is 1 year before him, has a title already. But like those are the two guys from that 2017 and on era that have gotten titles.
Yeah.
And like SGA, I think is better than Tatum. I know Tatum's off the Achilles, that's fair, but SGA is ahead of him at this point. 100%. He's got an MVP. He's a better player.
His resume is better than Tatum's now, right? He's got the MVP. He's got the scoring title. He has the Finals MVP. Tatum has more longevity right now. He's just been in the league longer, so he's got more playoff wins, more playoff points, all these things.
And got accelerated into like lead guy sooner. Yeah. Like it was really early, like that 2018 series when it's him and Isaiah, or him post Isaiah Celtics. They play the Cavs, push them. Like that accelerated the Tatum timeline, I think, really quickly.
It did, right? And that's why Tatum is kind of always compared himself to Kobe in that way too. We just talked about how early, Kobe started getting into all this stuff. But with Shai now, what's interesting is he's sort of the guy. Like Tatum's not the guy. Everybody wants Anthony Edwards to be the guy. He's not the guy. And it's a great shout that you made with Luka. We were having some crazy historic conversations about Luka when he brought Dallas to the finals last year. Like we were talking some crazy stuff about like, where is this guy going to be ranking all time? It doesn't really feel like we're having those conversations about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like we're sort of putting that over there. We're like all time, I don't know, he's Canadian. Does it really count? But like
when he doesn't do like he doesn't have like, there's nothing ornery about him, for lack of a better word. You know what I mean? Like,
well, people are the foul merchant thing.
Yeah,
people don't like him for that, and you even see on Twitter today, all like not deserving. Just they got to the free throw line over and over, and that's how they won the championship. And it's like, dude, if that's what you think, then I can't help you. Then you just hate basketball. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's okay to start having these kinds of conversations for a guy who's 26 years old. He'll be 27 in July. Same age Tatum was when Tatum won his first, but obviously. It's a little bit different, and because of how dominant Shai was during these playoffs, I mean, it was when we talked about the Thunder wire to wire being the best team, Shai was wire to wire the best player in the league this year, and that's really cool. And I think it's worth zooming out and having a conversation about what that means. He had an incredible regular season, deserved to win regular season MVP, was just as great in the playoffs, and had some all-time control the ball. Score the ball, facilitate. He had some great defensive plays. I mean, it's not just the scoring with him. It's like this two-way play with him all the time. He's getting steals. He's getting blocks. Wire to wire, best player in the league this year.
No question. And he's in his prime. Like, he's 26. He turns 27 in a couple weeks. You have a runway here with the team that he's at the helm of and sets the tone for. Where he's only probably going to stack up to this. Now
he's only going to get better, right? Like he's
only going to get better, and it's like if you told me that, like, I don't know how many titles this Thunder team is going to win. Like it's impossible to predict that. But it's like he's in the best position of any star in the league right now to stack up multiple rings. Name a star right now who's in a better position than him to lead his team to championships in club years.
Yeah, I mean, it was Tatum a year ago, right? And so, like, it is important to, put that footnote here. It's like we were just having this thing about Tatum, but before that, it was Steph, right, with those early Warriors teams, and we kind of thought that they would be around for a long time. Then they got Kevin Durant, and we're like, oh, well, they're definitely gonna be around for a while now. Yeah, I think that's a great call out. The other part, there was something I was going to say about Shai, and it just slipped my mind here. But the part of it, to your point, everything starts with him, and he kind of sets the tone for everybody.
Yeah,
there was always sort of, and I don't even mean this in a bad way. I actually mean this in a very good way. There was like a fake it till you make it kind of vibe with him, in terms of the poise and the hey, never get too high, never get too low. This is the stuff of champions, and I'm like, well, you don't really know, right? Because you're not a champion.
right.
So there's sort of a fake it till you make it thing. But now he's made it, right? Proof of concept. It's here. It feels like he can just get better. Like he's going to individually build off of this. He's going to defend the belt. I think he takes this stuff very seriously. I know like he's kind of got this cool, calm, collected thing. Everybody around Shai says the same thing. That guy is a killer. He wants to be the best. He wants to be like there is no ifs, ands, or buts. He wants to be the best guy in the league. He wants to be the number one guy on the number one team. That's what he wants. That's all he wants. And now that he's got the proof of concept and he's got the first trophy, the first finals trophy, finals MVP trophy, first finals win, now that he's got those things, it just feels like now he's going to walk into next year being like, it's my league. I'm the guy. And I kind of love that energy for him. And I think he's the guy. I think he's got the belt. Right? I don't know if he's better than Jokic, but I know it's a conversation. And if it's a conversation and he's got the hardware right now, the most recent hardware, it kind of feels like he's the guy.
30-6 2 years in a row in the playoffs averages.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. That is like bulletproof superstar stuff from him.
It's literally Jordan.
Yeah.
It's not Jordan-esque in the way that we it kind of looks like him, whatever. No, that's what Kawhi Leonard did in 2019, 2 years in a row.
Yeah. And to your point about like the Ant thing, it's like there's like also like a coldness, a level-headedness that is different. Ant hasn't got to that point,
right,
where he has like the guys are like kind of competing at like pushing. You could think could come. It's like I think of him and Ant Luka. It's like him, Ant Luka, SGA.
Yep.
Luka hasn't got that like the maturity part down off the court to be in great shape all the time, to handle himself super well all the time, to be uber disciplined in the way SGA clearly has. I think that's coming. I suspect that if him and LeBron are teaming up, like that's just going to get bullied into him to some degree. And bullying can be the wrong word, but a hunch. Ant has not got the maturity side of it down yet. The consistency, the calmness. Like he has the competitiveness, he has the fire. He absolutely took a step forward, I think, this year in a real way. But there is like another level that SGA.
He's not as polished, right? Shai's just polished, man.
Polished is the exact right word. Exact right word. He is. When you watch, to me, when I watch Wes, like the guys that I'm just like that clearly one of the best players in the world. It's just like everything seems smooth and easy, like every game. Mm-hmm. It's Jokic, it's Giannis, and it's SGA for me. Those are the guys. I think those are the guys. I think
and when Luka's in shape.
And when Luka's in shape.
Otherwise, it just feels like it's a drag, literally sort of dragging his body up and down.
Luka, when he beat the Thunder last year,
right,
was that like we're not that? It's like that feels very far away, but that's only because he got traded in the craziest trade of all time.
And the thing worth also mentioning about Shai, and this is probably where Anthony Edwards is also part of this conversation too, is that they do it defensively also.
Yes.
Right? Like they're not taking anything off the court where Luka, we know what that it looks like defensively at its worst. Like Shai never gets that bad defensively. Ant never gets that bad defensively. Even Haliburton, he started making strides defensively in a way that I think really mattered for Indiana. I don't know if it was like the number one thing. I know it was not the number one thing why the Pacers ended up in the finals, but it was on the list of reasons why the Pacers sort of outplayed expectations. But yeah, you compare SGA to some of the other guards, like the Jalen Brunsons and stuff. Like they're just never going to be that defensively for a lot of different reasons.
Mitchell's not that guy. They have the same issues.
Shai reminds me, he's the closest thing to Giannis in terms of MVPs we've had because he's a true two-way player.
Yeah,
he really is. Like he is it's not even like, oh, he's trying, like the Steph Curry. Like, Steph's actually a good defender. I'm like, Steph's not a good defender. Can we stop? He just tries hard, and it's cute, and it's good, and it's important. It's important, right? You can't be Trae Young out there. But let's not go so far as to say Steph is a good defender. That's what Shai is, a legitimately good defender on a team full of good defenders. Yeah, man, like it's
ahead of Booker, who is a
ahead of Devin
capable
Booker.
Who is a capable defender, who I think has like evolved, but he kind of feels like removed out of this right now because
he reminds me of Dwayne Wade.
Situation.
He really does, man. Like people forget how good D Wade was defensively when he was young. Like the kids don't know, but like everybody like remembers like late D Wade on one bad knee all the time for like the last 8 years of his career. But like early, like go watch like 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. Dwayne Wade was winning games defensively a lot for those Heat teams. He was awesome defensively. And Shai's right there, man. Like he had a couple plays in this game defensively that were really big. So, yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot more time to talk about like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander legacy stuff and what this means for the Thunder going forward. But might be a good time now to switch gears and talk Pacers and Haliburton.
I want to just tip my beer to them. I want to cheers them.
Congrats
to them on a great year. I hope that in their locker room they just like someone has like a couple cases of beer that they can all just like have like a cold one.
What's that Canadian beer that they all drink up there?
Labatt,
in the Toronto area.
Molson?
It's like Blue Moose or something.
Oh, I only know like your standard Canadian beers. I don't know, or like just I don't know how many guys are drinking beer.
Labatt Blue.
Yeah,
like
Labatt,
Molson.
Labatt,
those
Labatt,
yeah.
Wes.
Labatt, Moosehead.
Yeah. Everyone gets a Labatt because for Siakam, for having played for the Raptors before, for Mathurin for being a dog, for that whole thing. But like get them they deserve a cold beer. I think after that game. But it's like my heart dropped when Haliburton went down.
Yeah.
There's no way for me to talk about their performance in this game, I think, Wes, without that, because you wondered, and I think it was a fair assumption, were they like playing coy with us with the calf in Game 6? I think we know now that not. We're in a run of Achilles tears in the league right now. It's another like devastating run of like finals injuries with KD a couple years ago, with Clay a couple years ago. Like we're having these just happen now. Kyrie going back to 15. I look at that injury and then I look at how they punched as long as I think they could before it just clearly wasn't enough. Like if any team was going to pull off something absurd and like win a Game 7 on the road without their best player, it was probably going to be this Pacers team.
But the Pacers looked for the first time the entire postseason tired.
They looked tired,
except for Benedict Mathurin.
Dog, and they looked overwhelmed. Like they looked overwhelmed and like they ran out of answers and they went out swinging. But they literally they got when Haliburton goes down and is pounding the ground, and immediately knew it's
immediately.
I think what stresses me out about the Achilles thing, Wes, is that they seem to know immediately. Other injuries, they might like have like an inclination that like their knees messed up.
Mm-hmm.
When it's the Achilles, everyone seems to immediately know like, oh shit, I just ruptured my
I mean, it was hard. It was hard to watch, and it was hard also not to think back to when Tatum also got hurt and had a very similar reaction. Just tears immediately, tears, and tragedy. Like nothing short of just complete devastation emotionally for these guys because they know what it means. They know it means that they're gonna miss a season. There's a year off of their career now that they had that they don't have anymore. And you hope that with the way that people have bounced back from Achilles injuries recently, Kevin Durant and other people, that and people in different sports too, right? Like that you can bounce back and just be exactly the same way you were before. But you never know. You never know how your body's going to respond to that. It's a traumatic injury to your body. So for him to go down, and when he goes down, you see the pop in the right leg immediately, and he just hits the floor, and the ball goes the other way. And the camera pans back to Haliburton, and he's telling the trainer, I did it. It means they had the conversation before.
Yeah.
Are you okay with risking it? This is a risk.
This is I think playing with the calf is Russian roulette.
It is. And he dodged the bullet literally not literally, but literally in terms of your metaphor. In game 6, and then within the first few minutes of game 7, he got the pop, and he was awesome. He had 3 straight 3-pointers in this game, had 9 points in like 5 or 6 minutes or something. It was him and SGA going shot for shot, right? He had 3 3-pointers in the opening few minutes. SGA takes the first 3 field goal attempts for Oklahoma City. It was going to be Haliburton versus SGA. We were in for a classic game 7 of 2 star players going mano a mano, and it was going to be an amazing game. I'm convinced it was going to be an incredible, close game, and a game that the Pacers could have won.
Yeah.
The game was tied at 16 with 5 minutes to go when Haliburton went down. And then the Thunder quickly scored 2 points in transition, so it was 18-16 when Haliburton basically left the game. But it was at 16. It was tied at 16 when Haliburton went down and lost the ball. It was anybody's game at that moment. Absolutely devastating for Tyrese Haliburton. And frankly, it doesn't take anything away from Oklahoma City, but it is a cloud over the game and the way that the season ended, because it's such a bummer. And he was having such a legendary playoff performance and gave us the most memorable moments of these playoffs came from Tyrese Haliburton. And he doesn't deserve to go out like that. It sucks. Sports sucks sometimes, and it sucked in that moment.
This is a Pacers team. When I said the Thunder, I think are going to go down as the dominant team of the year because they won the title, and I think you have to think about them, and they'll go down in history longer, just in the sense of they accomplished a lot, and I think they can accomplish more. This Pacers team to me in a lot of ways is the team of the season. They're
the best.
Story.
As storytellers, Chris, as journalists, as people who chronicle the sport, they were the best story of the season. There is no question.
Tough as hell, resilient at all angles. Did really smart business, if you want to get into that side of it. Every way you could look at this team, you could find a great story to tell.
Yeah.
And get into something interesting about this team. And Haliburton's at the head of it. And he was another guy that was sparking this discussion about where is he at and pulling ahead of his peers. Another guy kind of ratcheting up that list, which is, for a guy that's not been in the league that long, he was putting himself in great company. And it was a team that they make the Eastern Conference Finals a year ago. Just get out slow, you kind of forget about them for a while, and then here they come. And now what you do now becomes incredibly tricky. Yeah. But what they did right now is the thing that matters. The thing that makes you feel something. And I'm sure if you're a Pacers fan watching at home tonight, I know there's that guy in the crowd in the McConnell jersey that looked just crushed, and I get it. At 99 point, every fan base but the Thunder is killing for how I think Pacers fans have to be feeling about their team.
Yeah, and it's not just lose. It's hard enough to lose the NBA Finals in Game 7.
Yeah,
but to see your star player go down and know that's probably costing us next year too.
Yeah,
is way more devastating.
Yes.
If you're just piling it all on, I don't know, man. I don't know how if you're a Pacers fan, it's very hard to reconcile what's going on right now with your franchise. But because again, in a couple of years, guys are up for extensions, new contracts. You have no idea if you'll ever get back to this point. You have no idea. The Pacers are awesomely set up. They've done a great job in terms of roster construction and the way that things are right now. But that stuff changes the NBA is literally built for that stuff to change within 2 years, and that's the next time that the Pacers can realistically be back in this thing. And so, yeah, it's devastating on a ton of different levels. The one thing I don't want to hear, though, and I already saw this take out there, and I just want to kind of get this off my chest, Chris, but
please.
The league needs to step in, and the Achilles things, it's proof that the league needs to shorten the schedule, or this is why players shouldn't be allowed to play with calf strains. Dog, it's Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Ask Haliburton right now if he regrets going out there. I guarantee you he says no.
Every player you and I have ever talked to that is serious about this is playing in that game.
And they know the risks to the point. It's one thing if they're being lied to by the training staff, sore calf, what are you talking about? You're fine. But they all knew what the risks were. They knew the full scope of what was going on. He knew that there was, let's call it a 50-50 shot, but whatever he's being told. But he knew that there was a great percentage chance of that exact thing happening. of him tearing his Achilles. He knew the risks when he went in. If this was game 1 of the NBA Finals, he probably does not play.
Yeah.
But it's game 7, dog. You're playing. You are running the risk. You're saying, this is what it's all for. He would have regretted for the rest of his life had he not played. He can live with, it's hard to say, it's weird to say now, but you can live with no regrets knowing that you literally gave it all. You gave it all you had. And the shortening the schedule, that thing that if you're on Twitter and being like, this is why we need to shorten the schedule, I'm like, have you ever seen an Achilles? Just like a raw Achilles, like under the skin? Like, don't start talking to me like you're a doctor and you know that shortening the schedule and fewer games in November and December will make anything meaningful, has anything to do with Tatum, Lillard, and Haliburton's Achilles injuries. Like, if you're on Twitter, you don't know. So I don't want to hear that part of it. Just recognize it sucks. And we don't have to start blaming. Injuries happen. It's sports. Like, the games are happening. The injuries are always going to happen, and you can't just start blaming stuff all the time. This sucks. It's devastating. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the whole story. It doesn't have to be this whole thing about how there's an issue in the world now and we have to start getting mad at somebody. You don't have to blame anybody for this. Haliburton went out knowing what the risks were, and he did it. And he's a warrior for it, and he deserves all of our respect for it. And the only thing that we should be worried about now with him is just that he gets back to 100% of what he was, and that this doesn't short circuit what looked like was going to be an amazing career and an amazing Pacers team. And you just hope that he gets back to where he was and that the Pacers can get back to where they were.
To your point about the takery, this is what I have long. I'm pretty sure across all sports, like, I've thought this for a while, that, like, we probably need to, like, dial stuff back a little bit. Soccer is, let's take a huge issue right now. I'm at a point with it where, like, if media has said enough about it, fans have said enough about it, I want to see players, like, make the argument before I, like, actually, I think, go to the mattresses for that argument again.
To shorten the season?
Yeah. Players might not because of the money.
That's literally why they don't want to shorten the season. They said, unless you're going to pay me the same amount, I don't want to shorten the season.
So unless they're willing to do it, like, they are the labor, like, they are the affected parties here, I don't know if I want to have that conversation more, because it's not like, yes, there's a consumer part of it that is worth mattering, but it is also, like, what does the labor think about this?
Yeah, I mean, look, care? I'm pro shortening the season, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's going to erase all injuries at shitty times. It's
not.
It's not going
light.
to. Yeah, I just think it sucks for these players to have to play back-to-backs. It's crazy.
Yes.
And then even as a consumer, it's like, okay, we can get, like, a night off once a week to sort of digest, not even just for me, so I could get a night off of basketball once a week, but just to digest what's going on. We don't talk about the games and all this stuff. It's because as soon as you start talking about a game, another game's happening. So, like, there's a lot of consumer reasons why to shorten the season.
On top of the loudest noise just often not being about the game, like, we're just fully, like, we're having that discussion now, I think, with a certain behavior of a certain guy in a big network right now.
Yep. And, yeah, so I don't know. I'm off the soapbox about the Haliburton injury, but it
sucks. It fucking sucks.
Obviously, it was a risk. I think he goes out there, does all he can. What happens if he doesn't get hurt, though? I think that's worth exploring here for 2 minutes.
I think it felt like he was on the verge of just cooking the entire game, and that being a really close game. That's what it felt like to me.
That 3 ball was falling.
That and the 3, though, I think the last 3 he hit, I was just like, okay, if he's hitting this, he's doing this, we are headed to something here. It was like the game I wanted, like what I kind of wanted out of a game. I wanted close, tense, made my stomach hurt. Probably crack a beer the third quarter instead of after the game kind of game.
Yep, I agree with you. Who's the favorite in the East?
So it's fine. Do you want? I've looked at the odds.
Let's do it. Let's do this part now.
All right. Congratulations again to the Thunder. Here are the title odds for next year. Thunder plus 240 as the favorites.
Okay.
Knicks are the next team at plus 700.
The Knicks
makes me think that Vegas knows something.
They know that Haliburton and Tatum aren't playing next year.
Well, that and are they doing something else?
Well, they still don't have a head coach, so we'll start there.
Yeah. Cavs plus 750.
Okay. So these are the odds for the whole league.
This is the fight. The BetMGM
So you've got a
has,
Western Conference team in front, and then 2 Eastern teams, and then who's the next East team? It's got to be a while.
The Celtics are plus 1,600 still.
In fourth?
And third for the East. Rockets are plus 800. Timberwolves are plus 1,400. Celtics, Magic, and Nuggets and Lakers are all plus 1,600.
Celtics, Magic, Lakers,
and Nuggets.
Nuggets.
Spurs plus 2,200. Warriors plus 3,000. Clippers plus 3,000. Sixers plus 3,500. Pacers are plus 4,000 with
So
Dallas,
you've got
Detroit, etc.
on decent odds 4 teams.
Knicks have already shifted. They literally just in front of me right now. Knicks are now plus 800. Magic are plus 1,400. Magic have gone up. Cavs are now the second favorite in the league.
I wonder why. So you've got OKC, New York, Cleveland, and Houston are really the only teams being given a shot to win the championship next year. Like a legitimate shot. Minnesota's out. What was Minnesota?
1,400.
Yeah. So So you've got 4 teams.
And only
with
one of them
shorter
that's
odds.
really done it. You know, it's like there's one, and at the top of here there's if you look at any team that's plus 2,000 and shorter in this title race. Thunder are the only team that have won a title. Celtics obviously have, but like that is not the same Celtics team. That is a bet up instinct. It doesn't count. And then it's like, oh, the Nuggets have, but it's like, okay, what are they doing here? So they have. And then the Lakers have LeBron, who's done it a bunch, and Luka. So like that's that bet. But everything else is just sort of like you're envisioning it all coming together. You have to really like talk yourself into it. It's like it could be a pretty open league next year in a lot of ways.
I'd feel a lot better about the Knicks if Tom Thibodeau was still the head coach. But we'll see who they end up hiring. I don't know. I still think firing Tibbs is probably the right call, but then you see the way that they've gone about their coaching search, and I'm like, maybe not the right call for them. But we'll see. Houston,
my favorite like random ones on these lists in terms of just like I could see it and like everything clicks. It's Orlando and it's the Lakers.
I like the Lakers. I need Orlando to do a couple more things here, but I like the Lakers. I like Denver. But I hesitate to pick anybody in the West that's not the Thunder. I don't know.
Exactly. And we're going to get... Is this where we go to the Rockets?
Yeah, let's do it.
I kind of want to dunk on the Suns first, if I'm being honest with you.
Go for it. Dunk away. Dunk contest.
Not getting... I understand, like, you didn't have a lot of leverage here, and that was, like, the whole gambit they've been running in the media the last, like, week is trying to get, like, a modicum of leverage back on their side, Wes. You couldn't get, like, Reed Shepherd... or like one other of these random young guys. Couldn't get like one of your picks. You got 10th pick is great for them. Okay. Dylan Brooks will be an annoying presence for them. I'm not a Jalen Green guy. I think that the playoffs told you a lot about what Jalen Green actually is, even though he'll give you some good regular season games. Him and Booker makes absolutely no sense to me. I think that, like, I saw this trade graded as like a B by very smart people. I don't get that at all. I think the Suns, it's just continuing failure from them. I think they not getting one of the other young guys. Maybe that's just what the market dictated. I know like the Heat were, by all accounts, like very hesitant to put in like Khalil Ware and like Cami Hawkes and like multiple. Like maybe there just wasn't the multiple assets deal out there. But you got to find a way to get like something. I think a little bit more here, a little more real. And it like this doesn't like absolve you of all your past. You're still screwed. And Jalen Green and Devin Booker is just like a horrendous basketball fit. I still kind of think their best move is to probably just trade Devin Booker. Honestly, I'm kind of just still there with it.
And what's crazy that Houston can still trade for him.
Yeah, I kind of hope in the call they were like, "Hey, are you sure you don't want to like make this bigger and we'll take KD and Devin Booker and like."
And then you can have all the stuff that you want.
Yeah, I think the Phoenix is perpetually screwed, and like this is just like an embarrassing routine.
You did leave out the fact that they got 5 second-round picks. So
one first, like, look, great, like you'll be able to get cheap young talent, and you're gonna need it, but like, come on, like you couldn't just get like then be like, you know what, like.
They had no leverage, Chris. They had
but
none.
It's like you couldn't
They had a
get,
giant
like,
going out of business sign in the front, and you had customers walking in, and they were like, going out of business, everything must go, and the customer walks in and they're like, it's going to be full price. And the customer's like, what are you talking about?
You couldn't get
they lost.
you couldn't
I
get
actually think it's remarkable that they got the 10th pick in the draft.
You couldn't get Cam Whitmore. Like Cam Whitmore's not gonna like play. You know. Couldn't get that.
So Houston drew a line in the sand. They said this is what our offer is. Miami drew a line in the sand. They said this is what our offer is. Minnesota was trying to get in. It sounds like Minnesota was actually offering more, but Durant had leverage. Durant had more leverage than anybody in this conversation because he could be a free agent in 2026. So it was just a matter of, okay, San Antonio clearly was not that interested. And it was between Houston and Miami. I agree with you, but I don't know what trade it was going to look like. I don't know what kind of trade Phoenix could have pulled off where this looks awesome for them. So
I just needed like one other thing that I could like lie to myself about it.
I kind of think the Dylan Brooks piece of this is the best part of the trade for them. It's like, an actual player that plays both sides, makes threes, plays defense. Congrats.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with the 10th pick. I don't think it's as bad. Jalen Green is an interesting piece. He doesn't fit well. I think that there's a rule in the new CBA that doesn't allow Jalen Green and Bradley Beal to be on the court at the same time, so they're going to have to maneuver that.
Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. For like half a minute, I generally forgot Bradley Beal was still on this team. Like Nate, I'm really sorry that this is like your first head coaching job.
They still need to figure out what their front court looks like. They did not get the center that they kept talking about.
I'd imagine 10 is like so I'm looking at like the Tankathon page right now for the mock. It's like Derek
they're hoping
Queen,
the Duke guy falls.
Comden Malik. I think like whatever their top rated center, it just feels like what that guy's starting day one for them.
I could see them going with the Georgetown kid Sorber. Maybe that's something that they do, or they take a swing here. I don't know, but but for the Houston, I think it makes a ton of sense. I didn't love the Kevin Durant thing in Houston, mostly because I was rooting for him to end up in Miami. But given that they didn't have to trade anything, it was almost like, why don't we just get Kevin Durant at this point? They had no use for the 10th pick. Like, what were they going to do? Like, they had the 3rd pick last year, and that guy couldn't play. Couldn't get on the court. Reed Shepherd couldn't get on the court for him. So the 10th pick, everybody figured that they were probably going to trade it anyway. And it kind of still feels like they need a consolidation trade, but they get my favorite part about this for Houston, other than that they get Kevin Durant. They had clearly reached a point with Jalen Green where they decided, you know what, we like him, but we don't love him, and we're probably going to have to move him. And there was a lot towards the end of the year of, is this kind of Amen Thompson's team now? And it felt like Şengün was cool with it. And every once in a while, they would have to kind of pretend that it was still Jalen Green's team and be like, no, Jalen, it's still your team, buddy. Take 20 shots. It's fine, whatever. And their record, by the way, and I brought this up multiple times with you on this show during their playoff run, when he had scored 30 points, they were like 13-2 in the regular season when Jalen Green scored 30 plus, but just it didn't happen that much. And it was really bad when it didn't look good. But clearly, Amen Thompson was advancing to the point where they needed to give him more stuff. And it just felt like Jalen Green was kind of in the way, for a lack of a better term. And this gets him out of the way, and I think it's going to allow, even with Kevin Durant there, right, it's going to allow Amen Thompson to sort of slowly get into that. And then having Kevin Durant there to show guys like Amen Thompson and Alperen Şengün and Reed Shepherd and Tari Easton and all these guys what real work looks like from a professional. Not to say that like Fred VanVleet and Jeff Green and these guys, but it's different when it's coming from a first ballot Hall of Famer in KD. That is going to be huge. Like, I think this is the best thing that ever happened to Amen Thompson because he's going to get to learn from Kevin Durant now. And I think that's just going to take his game to another level.
It's also a guy that like apparently has a very close relationship with Udoka by all reporting. And like I think you're going to get a very dialed and motivated Kevin Durant. That is a guy where you say your team is VanVleet to about. It just seems like the VanVleet is going to be back next year. It is just a matter of is it the option or is it a multi-year contract? That's the question now. A starting 5 of VanVleet, KD, Thompson, Şengün, and then like you think probably Jabari. I would say Jabari or Smith or Tari Easton are your candidates to be the 5th starter.
Yeah, you gotta if you feel like Amen is ready for more ball handling, because that was the one thing is like with VanVleet and Green, you knew okay we have 2 ball handlers surrounded by wings and a center.
Yeah, and KD obviously like has all these great skills that are gonna make them better, but like he's not traditionally like he's kind of ISO scorer. Not like
he'll spend some time, but to your point, you kind of want to just entry post a post entry to him.
They kind of need Reed Shepherd now, actually. So maybe it's good they still have Reed Shepherd.
It clears up things for Reed Shepherd here a little bit now too. Yeah.
Yeah. But like that five,
you can
awesome.
go Van Vliet. You can go Van Vliet, Shepherd, KD, Amen, Şengün.
Yeah. Or like you can
experiment.
You can experiment. I mean, even if Shepherd is like a bench piece, and you maybe pair him with KD, like he kind of becomes like he gets to get lean in and stuff with KD. You still have Steven Adams, who they've re-signed. Like I really like
KD and
roster.
Steven Adams reunited, huh?
Another fun fact I saw via NBA Reddit, Wes. Funny on the night the Thunder win the title, Harden, Russ, and KD are all going to have been Houston Rockets.
And Steven Adams.
Like, how weird is that? Like that works out.
Can they go sign Serge Ibaka? Is he still out there?
Do you think ESPN's like, can you take Perk? Do you need a locker room guy? You want to take Perk for a year? And Katie's like, I actually want to go to the Wolves now. I think that one's up. Do you buy this team? The odds West in Vegas are saying second best odds in the West. Do you buy that?
A little heavy. That feels a little heavy to me. I wouldn't go second best odds. No.
I don't. I could see second best odds, but I think it's like a little bit.
They're not my second favorite. Yeah,
it's ahead of the pack a little bit in a way that makes me like a little dicey on that, because like that was a second seed in the West last year, and you had KD, so it's like, oh, okay, but they were only 2 games ahead of the Lakers and the Nuggets and the Clippers. Yeah, and we're 16 games back of the Thunder, so it's like.
And you said they're plus 800 or something, and then and Minnesota's all the way back at like plus 14. Minnesota's been in the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. It feels a little dismissive of the Timberwolves.
And Denver and the Lakers and the Clippers, I believe, are all at plus 16.
Yeah,
and the Warriors are even further now.
I don't care about the Clippers. I don't believe in the Clippers until they make me. But the Lakers and the Nuggets feel like they should be part of this conversation.
Yeah, I think that's a little close, but I can't.
But that's also assuming, right, that the Lakers are going to make the move we all think that they're going to make and go get a real center. Yeah. But Houston actually did the thing, right? They made the move. They've got Durant.
And still have stuff to like use. Like if they want to do something else, they can. If they want to trust the young guys, they can. Like they're in a really good spot. I would probably try to turn like Whitmore and like one of my picks or something into someone more trustworthy would be what I would say. I would look at, one of these teams that's kind of stuck and try to say, can I go get like a more proven wing option and cash in one of the young guys before all the value kind of disappears, because some of those guys are due contracts soon. So I might just go get like a veteran. And it's like with KD, it's like you got a window here. To the point about the Thunder window, and like your window is always more finite than you think. You probably got like 1 or 2 years to really maximize KD before. Like I would say, like it's next year and the year after, like the 2 years that you're trying to mash the Amen Thompson future and Şengün future into the KD right now and the Van Vliet right now. On top of that, because Van Vliet is a smaller guard and he's older, kind of just got to smash everything together now. And I would probably make one more trade. I'm trying to.
Is there like a Caruso type out there or something? That
a Caruso type is
bring
exactly
off the bench, just sort of ace in the hole type deal. Yeah, I think I'm with you. I wouldn't do anything major here. Like I wouldn't be. I
might try to like
John
fleece.
Morant available,
I might try to like
but...
fleece. Yeah, I might try to like fleece the Pelicans and try to get like one of their wing. Like, can I give them like Cam Whitmore and like 2 firsts for Herb Jones, and just make them say no?
You'd have Herb Jones, Amen Thompson, and Tari Eason all on the same team. Is that
fucking
allowed?
Ime Udoka's like just ready to fucking go, man.
Yeah, I'd like one more ball handler, guard type who can help at the point of attack. I think that might be helpful.
Or even just like thinking, I was looking at like Portland is like if Portland wanted to get some more assets. It's like I don't think this is like really a Simon's team, but like that's like the kind of. I'm trying to think of like Utah doesn't really have anyone that I'm excited about. Wes, I will tell you I can't believe I'm going to mention the Jazz right now. I was on the phone with a friend today who we had a 10-minute conversation about how the Jazz are doing everything wrong and evil right now. So I just want to say that our anti-Jazz.
Good.
Probably it's
most hated team in the league.
The good word is spreading around about how the Jazz are evil and bastards. Agreed. Is there like a team that you can like pull someone from? Like, can you is there someone on Brooklyn that you like? Is there a second contract guy, to bring this back to the Pacers, that just struck out somewhere else that you could go get? Like,
maybe. But again, I think you have enough. You have enough flyers on the team.
Would Corey Kispert be interesting?
No. You already hit it. You got Durant. I don't want ifs. I got enough ifs. I need you're probably looking just for one guy. If shit goes downhill, I know I could throw him out there and feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. All right, I got to troll you before we go.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you this. This is from your locked on colleague, Danny Cunningham. He sent me this today. So this is a Danny question.
Okay.
Not a me question.
All right.
Are the Miami Heat the new Boston Celtics because they're always in the rumors to trade for guys but never do?
Yes and no. The difference is that those Boston teams actually had things to trade and then would just not. Miami's like, hey, we're going to get this guy. And then they try and they don't because they don't have any things to trade.
Yeah. And like, if I'm the Heat, I wouldn't want to give up Khalil Ware or like Hawkes. Like, I don't like. It's really
so
hard.
Here's
like,
where
it's
just
hard.
to update on the reporting there. So they never offered Khalil Ware. That was hard line. We're not offering him.
He's really good.
Phoenix was like, okay, well, if you're not going to give us Khalil Ware, then just give us everything else. So that was Hawkes, Jovic, the first round pick this year, potentially more firsts. I don't think that they were asking for literally all of it. Like, hey, you have 3 first round picks, 2 young guys. We need in the contracts to match. Like, we need all of it. But it was going to be both young guys and 1 or 2 picks, or 3 picks and 1 young guy. It was going to be a lot. And so Miami ultimately was just like, look, we're not doing this. And their final offer was actually, surprisingly, did not include Duncan Robinson, which I thought was a little surprising.
Yeah.
It was Wiggins, Terry Rozier, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Haywood Highsmith, and the 20th pick in the draft. That was the final offer, according to the Miami Herald. So Houston probably had a better offer. And the biggest sin that Miami committed, I guess, was making the playoffs. Because you wonder, okay, is that package with the 12th pick in the draft as good as the Houston one instead of the 20th pick in the draft, right? Because you're competing, you have the 20th pick in the draft versus the 10th pick in the draft. And that might have been ultimately the thing that did it for him. Because I don't know, you could talk yourself into, well, Jalen Green is better than any piece that Miami was including. It's like, okay, I don't know that Phoenix is psyched to take on Jalen Green in that contract, right? Like, Miami wasn't offering any negative contracts. So if you're a Phoenix fan, maybe you like that part of it, but yeah.
I think Phoenix, to the whole point of this, probably needed to get lucky in a one team snap and give them something real. And
I think that's what they're holding out on.
That did not happen.
So who's the next big guy to get? Are we done? Is there another big name that gets traded?
The vibe of the NBA the last week has not been that we're done.
And the Haliburton injury might convince other teams in the East to be like, well, now it's kind of really wide open.
I don't know what their offer was, Wes, but when I saw the Cavs on the long list of teams that inquired about Durant, it piqued my interest. I don't know what else they could do that would, nothing really rivals that unless you're bringing LeBron home, and I don't think that's in the cards.
Right.
But like, if you're sniffing around Durant, what else are you willing to like just say, F it, let's like trade Jared Allen and matching salaries to go get like something else? I don't know. Does Atlanta like try to do something crazy and say like we like just someone like that try to go like aggressive and shoot their way up the temple? I don't know.
I think Atlanta's a good call.
I just wonder who it is. Like, are you calling Memphis about Jaren Jackson because that's the guy?
To me, okay. That's a guy that moves the needle, right? But there's you call that everybody now. Like, you just call. Like, that's what. I don't know that the Luka thing necessarily, but Luka showed that anything's possible, I suppose. But like what Orlando did with Desmond Bane and the Knicks did with Mikal Bridges last year and things like that, it's like, hey, if you see a guy, you're like, that's the perfect fit for us. If only we could get him, make the phone call.
Yeah.
Maybe you can. The
worst teams are going to tell you is no. Like, you're going to get hung
exactly.
up on. Like, I'd be calling the Pelicans about their guys because they're like Trey Murphy and Herb Jones.
I would be calling I would be calling about those guys 100%.
Just
100%.
Blow up the phones. I'm calling. Like,
the question is like, about Larry Markkinen, right?
I think someone will trade for Walker Kessler is what I think is also going to happen. Who I think like is obviously kind of. I know he has dipped in value, but that is a guy I think you put him in a better team. I think he looks better. Like, that to me is like prime Lakers get him, and he looks a bajillion% better playing for the Lakers. Kind of trade.
Yeah.
The other one that I think we're going to start hearing about that I don't think will go anywhere is Paul George.
Yeah, nobody's trading for him. I don't know how you trade for Paul George at this point.
I don't either. But I'm like waiting for like there to be like Paul George stuff more in the ether because it's true.
Should LeBron just go back to the Eastern Conference right now?
He should go back to the
One
Cleveland
more run.
Cavaliers. Yeah, he should.
You're right. He should go back to the Miami Heat.
He should go back to He should go back to the Heat so you get the podcast money from getting LeBron back, or he should come to Cleveland so that I can see LeBron play in person like 10 more times. So
It feels like the East is just ready for a star to just be like, no wonder Giannis is staying.
Well,
you know?
okay, to this point, if you're Giannis right now and you see that your arch rival Indiana Pacers are probably out of next year, no one else is a great team. The Celtics are banged up. Are you saying like, does this window now make you like 10% less loyal? And you think, should I go to the Knicks? Should I go to the Heat?
100%.
Should I like get somewhere and go chase? Should I go try to play with Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland?
No, Giannis is enough of a sicko to just be like, and he's probably wrong, but he's like, look, I'm the best player in the Eastern Conference by far now. Maybe we have a shot next year. And
Pat
again, he's wrong.
Connaughton picked up his option. Run it back.
There you go.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder NBA champs. Everyone is chasing them next year. I think that's just where we're at.
Yes.
Will they repeat? I don't know. It's very hard to repeat now. But if you told me, maybe the team that since like the end of the Warriors that I would feel as again the Celtics. This is recorded. We're after midnight. All that stuff. Maybe this is like unfair to the Celtics as of last year, but this just feels like the most sure thing in the league right now, and they did it, and they're here. Everyone is chasing that standard now.
There was nothing surprising about this Thunder run. We all picked them before the season.
The only thing that was surprising, Wes, was how many games the finals went.
Yeah. And that was like a compliment, what I said. Like, this team's awesome. Like, they're stacked. The decision to come out swinging in the first day of free agency and just be like, yep, we got Isaiah Hartenstein. Yep, we traded Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso. They got their homework done early, and they've been just kind of trucking along ever since. They crushed it.
Congrats to the Thunder. Congrats to the Pacers for a great, great year. Really fun NBA season. It does not stop. The draft is this week. Trades are coming. Free agency is coming. The NBA literally does not stop. We'll talk to you soon. I'm Chris Manning and Wes Goldberg. Go crack a beer. Watch some WNBA. Enjoy the hoops. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great week. Talk to you later.